The restaurant was loud, but for her, the loudest thing in the room was silence. Emily Carter sat at the small corner table near the window, her fingers wrapped tightly around a glass of water she hadn't touched. The candle between her and the empty chair flickered like it was nervous too. She kept glancing at the entrance every few seconds, hoping, no, begging, that Daniel would walk in smiling, apologizing for being late. He never did. At 7:12 p.m., her phone buzzed against the table. She felt the vibration and quickly unlocked it. A message. Sorry. I didn't realize you were fully deaf. I don't think this is going to work. Wish you the best. Her chest tightened. For a moment, she forgot how to breathe. Fully deaf. As if she were a broken appliance. As if she had failed to mention she was human. Around her, people laughed. Plates clinked. Glasses tapped in celebration. She couldn't hear any of it, but she could see it. The joy. The ease. The way couples leaned in and spoke without thinking. Emily swallowed hard. She had told Daniel before the date. She had explained through messages that she communicated using American Sign Language and lip reading. He had replied with, "That's totally fine. I'm excited to meet you." Apparently, fine had an expiration date. She reached for her purse, determined to leave before the tears fell. But as she stood, her heel caught slightly on the chair leg. The water glass tipped, spilling across the table and dripping onto the floor. Great. Just great. She crouched quickly, embarrassed, grabbing napkins to clean it up. That's when she noticed 4 tiny pairs of shoes in front of her. Bright sneakers. 2 blue, 1 red, 1 purple. She looked up. 4 little kids, no older than 6, were staring at her with wide, curious eyes. Behind them stood a tall man with tired but kind eyes, holding what looked like the world's largest diaper bag. He signed, a little clumsily, "Are you okay?" Emily froze. Her eyes widened. He wasn't fluent. His hand movements were slightly awkward, like someone who had learned from online videos at 2 a.m. But he was trying. She nodded slowly and signed back, "I'm fine. Thank you." The man exhaled in relief, then spoke aloud while signing slowly. "Good. My name is Mark. These are my kids. Sorry if they're staring." The kids waved enthusiastically. One of them signed, perfectly clear, "Hi." Emily blinked, surprised. Mark smiled sheepishly. "Their mom was deaf," he explained, his hands more confident now. "We've been learning since they were babies." Something inside Emily shifted. She wasn't used to this. She wasn't used to someone meeting her world halfway. Before she could respond, one of the kids tugged on Mark's shirt and signed rapidly. Mark chuckled. "She wants to know why you look sad." Emily hesitated. Honesty felt risky, but something about their open faces made it safe. She signed softly, "My date didn't show up." All 4 kids gasped dramatically. Mark's expression changed, not to pity, but to something deeper. Understanding. He glanced at the empty chair, then at the flickering candle. Without overthinking, he pulled out the chair across from her. "Well," he said gently while signing, "if you don't mind sharing your table with 5 very hungry people. We just got stood up by our babysitter." Emily stared at him. Then, for the first time that evening, she smiled. Maybe silence wasn't always lonely. Maybe sometimes. It was the beginning of something. Unexpected. Emily hadn't planned on spending her Friday night sharing fries with quadruplets. Yet here she was, sitting across from Mark and his 4 energetic children, Lily, Logan, Lucas, and little Mia, who were currently debating in sign language about which dessert to order. It was chaotic. It was loud, visually loud. And it was beautiful. Mark apologized at least 3 times in the first 10 minutes. "They can be a lot," he signed with a tired grin. Emily shook her head. "They're wonderful." And they were. Lily kept asking Emily questions about her favorite colors. Logan proudly showed her how fast he could fingerspell the alphabet. Lucas insisted on teaching her a new sign he had invented for superhero pancakes. And Mia, sweet little Mia, climbed into Emily's lap like she had known her forever. For the first time in years, Emily didn't feel like an outsider looking in. She was part of the conversation. Part of the laughter. Part of the moment. After dinner, Mark insisted on paying, despite Emily's protests. Consider it payment for rescuing us from eating cereal at home, he joked. Outside, the night air was cool. The kids ran ahead toward the minivan, their laughter visible in their bouncing shoulders. Mark stayed back. His expression shifted from playful to sincere. I'm sorry about your date, he signed slowly. People can be shallow. Emily looked down at her hands. She signed carefully, choosing vulnerability over pride. I'm used to it. Mark's jaw tightened. No one should get used to being treated like they're less. His words hit harder than she expected. Emily stuttered him, the faint dark circles under his eyes, the wedding ring still on his finger. She signed gently, your wife. Mark swallowed. She passed away 2 years ago. Car accident. Emily's heart dropped. I haven't really dated since, he admitted. Tonight wasn't supposed to be anything special. Just dinner with the kids. There it was again, that unexpected connection. Two people who hadn't planned on this night meaning anything. And yet it did. Suddenly, Mia ran back toward them and signed excitedly to her dad. Mark looked confused, then amused. She says you should come over tomorrow for pancakes. Emily laughed silently. Mark looked embarrassed. You don't have to. She interrupted him with a soft smile. I'd like that. The words surprised even her. As she walked to her car later that night, Emily realized something important. Daniel had walked away because he couldn't handle silence. Mark had stepped forward because he understood it. And sometimes, the people who choose to stay, without hesitation, are the ones who change your life forever. Saturday. Morning smelled like syrup and fresh hope. Emily stood outside Mark's house holding a small box of muffins she had, baked at 6 a.m. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from something new. Possibility. Before she could knock, the door swung open. 4 kids launched themselves at her like confetti. Emily. They signed in unison. She laughed, bending down to hug them. Inside, the house was messy but warm. Toys scattered across the floor. Crayon drawings taped to the fridge. A framed photo of Mark and his late wife sat on the mantel. Emily paused at it. Mark noticed. She would have liked you, he signed softly. Emily met his eyes. I would have liked her too. There was no jealousy, no awkwardness, just respect. Over pancakes shaped like stars and dinosaurs, something extraordinary happened. Emily wasn't a guest. She was included. Logan asked her to help with his homework. Lily braided her hair. Lucas insisted she judge their best pancake flip contest. And Mia refused to leave her side. At one point, Emily looked around the kitchen, the flour-covered counters, the laughing children, Mark smiling at her from across the room. Tears filled her eyes. Mark noticed immediately. He stepped closer. What's wrong? He signed. Emily took a deep breath. Nothing's wrong. I didn't think I'd ever have this. He hesitated. Then, slowly, carefully, he reached for her hand. You deserve this, he signed. You deserve someone who shows up. The simplicity of those words broke something open inside her. Daniel had seen her deafness as a limitation. Mark saw her heart. Weeks turned into months. Emily began teaching the kids more advanced sign language. She helped Lily with school projects. She sat with Mark during quiet evenings when grief crept back in. They didn't rush anything. They built it. One pancake breakfast at a time. And one evening, as the sun dipped behind their backyard fence, Mia climbed into Emily's lap and signed something that made Mark freeze. You're not the lady who was abandoned anymore, Mia said. You're the lady who stayed. Emily looked at Mark. He stepped forward, emotion shining in his eyes. No, he signed firmly. She's the lady who was brave enough to show up again. And in that small kitchen filled with messy love and tiny hands, Emily realized something powerful. Being abandoned wasn't the end of her story. It was the moment that led her exactly where she was meant to be. Sometimes, the right person doesn't arrive with fireworks. Sometimes, he arrives with 4 kids, burnt pancakes, and hands willing to learn your language. And when love speaks, even in silence, it can be louder than anything in the world.